Before we get into creating the position, I want to show you what it looks like when you first log into Workday. You'll see the items that are awaiting action in your queue, but you'll also have your mailbox here that has your task. And then the bell shows alerts and notifications that you may not need to act on, but things that you should be aware of. You'll have announcements down here and then some of your apps that you frequently use. So let's go ahead into creating a position. So you'll type in your search bar, create position, and then it'll bring up the supervisory organization. So since we are going to create a human resource position, then we're going to use a human resource person, and we'll use my supervisor. And if you just type in a little bit of the name and click enter, then Grace Van Divender will appear. Select OK, and now we'll begin to actually create the position. So for this one, we are going to select a budgeted position. You have other options, but we're going to create a position that's budgeted. And we're going to use the title for HR Business Partner for demo. And for this one, let's just use two positions here. So for the availability date, and start with the date that you're entering. And the earliest hire date for this one, let's go ahead and choose March 25th. For the job profile, then let's see if we can search on our position and find business partner, HR business partner exempt. And if this was not in a test scenario, if this was after we go live, then the description summary, the job description would carry over. But since we're still in the test summary, then we're going to put test, and then we're going to do the same thing for the job description, test description. Okay, and for time type for this position, it's full-time position. The worker type is going to be an employee. And for the worker subtype, then we're going to select a regular employee. You'll find in many areas of Workday you can include attachments. So that's the same here. You could add an attachment here, maybe as a justification for the position that you want to create. You would just select the file and drop it here. We're going to click Submit. And now our position has been created. Now that our position is created, we're going to go into creating our job requisition, which is what is needed in order to create a job posting. So we're going to type in create job rec, and you'll see the task here. She'll select. And then again, supervisory organization. I'm going to go at Van Divender. And we're going to say for an existing position. And we're going to do the test HR business partner and OK. And now we're going to actually go into the details of creating our job rec. We'll click on our edit button there. And our reason is that we're going to create a job requisition. And let's say that this one is going to be for a replacement for someone who has resigned or transferred. We're going to post this job externally starting on 3/17 and that target hire date of March 25th. Maybe not factual, but that's what we'll do in this scenario. We click on next, and then we'll go into our job details. Again, we're going to do our justification, which will say more partners are needed on campus. And again, we'll do our test summary and our test description. Our primary location will be at William & Mary. And next. If we wanted to add any skills or qualifications, we could do that here. And for an organization, we see that William & Mary carried over, but our cost center is blank. And since this is a human resource position, then we're going to add in a human resource cost center number. And next. Again, we could add attachments here if wanted. And for our compensation, then we see what the total base pay range is. And we'll go down to our salary and we'll add a salary in. And for this one, let's just go with 80,000. If this was an hourly position, then we would add it here instead. And now we're going to assign the role. And we're going to assign a primary recruiter. And that primary recruiter, remember, is the one that's going to take most of these Workday actions for the hire. And so, since I am in human resources and work for Grace Van Divender, who this position is going to be reporting to, then we'll add myself in as the primary recruiter. Now we'll review all of the information here. If there was any changes to any area that we needed to make, then we would just go to the edit button here or in whatever section you wanted to change and make your edits. But we're going to go with everything is fine and what we want here for this position. So we're going to go ahead and submit. And now we have submitted the position, and you'll see that it will tell you the next action will be taken by the budget analyst who will give the consolidated approval. Now that the budget office has approved our position, it's time to create a search committee members. And there are instructions here on how to create the definition, but we're going to go ahead and click on maintain committee definition. We're going to put in a date, put the current date in, and we're going to create a definition. And we're going to call this one, let's say HRBP committee. And the type is going to be committee, as well as the committee subtype. And remember our sponsoring organization is Van Divender. Okay. And we are done. And then we're going to hit submit. And so now it's been marked as complete, and we'll go on to the next step, which is now we're going to post the job externally on our William & Mary website. We have our start date in, and we're going to submit. And now our position is posted. Now we're on the career website, and we're going to have our applicant, Khadijah, look for a job. So we're going to have her search for jobs, and we see the HR business partner, and we'll have her apply. If she applied before, then we could use her last application, or we could choose to apply manually or autofill with a resume. For this, we're going to apply manually. So we're going to enter her information. She's heard about us from the job site, and that would be our William & Mary website. She is not previously or currently a William & Mary or VIMS employee, so we'll just keep going with that. And we'll enter her address. And we'll say New York. Her mobile number. Okay. And we'll give her work information in. And that she currently works here. And we'll say that she's been here for a while. So we'll go back a few years or many years. And if we wanted to add in other positions, we could do so here. Education, certifications, languages, all can be added, and multiple of each could be added if necessary. If we were going to add a resume or a CV, we would add it here. And we're going to save and continue. And now we'll answer the applicant questions. So we'll say that she is eligible to work in the United States, that she's criminally authorized, not currently a state employee, no affiliation with William & Mary or VIMS for her or her family. And if she had not said that she found the information on William & Mary's website, this would be the place where she could add in how she found out about this position. Okay. Voluntary disclosures. And we're going to say that she is not a veteran. Click on the terms and conditions, accept it, and save and continue.
So this is a point where she would review her application, and if there were any changes that she wanted to make, she could just click the back button and go back and make any adjustments necessary. We are going to hit submit. Once she has submitted her application, she'll receive a notification that her application has been submitted, accepted, and we're back on her home page. So now I'm back in as the recruiter, and I'm looking at my inbox tasks, and I see that there are 2 applications here for review. So we should find Khadijah's application here for our business partner position. And so if we click on it, then we can review her application, and it gives us a summary of the information that she's put in on the job for 27 years, her address information. And if we decide that we want to go ahead and consider her, then we can move her forward for a phone screen or an interview. Or we're going to go ahead and push to move her for an interview. And now we're going to schedule that interview. You see the interviewer is Grace Van Divender. I'm going to get the date in here. Give her a 30-minute interview. And we're going to make this one, we could choose, but we're going to make this one in person. Okay, and so we have the information here. We're at Grace in person in the interview for the position. If we wanted to upload information here, we could do so. And you'll see that there's an error message here, and that error message is because we did not actually put the information on the time of the interview. So let's go back, and now we've clicked on a time, 30 minutes, and say OK. And now we're going to hit schedule, and we're going to be interviewing with Grace. Okay, now we have our time in, and we're going to go ahead and submit. And so we submitted an interview for Khadijah. So now we see that Khadijah has had her interview, and we're going to open it up and look at the interview feedback. So we like Khadijah, and we want to move forward with her. So now we're going to go ahead to reference checks. And it says that the next step is going to be for Khadijah to submit reference check information. We're back in as Khadijah as an applicant, and we see that she has been given a task to add references. And so we'll start that action. And well, this does the manager. And so her reference looks good. And so it was okay. And so now she has completed it and has no more tasks. So now back in as the recruiter, and we see that we have somebody that's in the reference check phase. And so we will open, and there's no email for that reference to go to. So we're just going to submit in here. That's an excellent reference, and submit. You see that the information has now been submitted for this position. Reference was excellent, and now we're ready to go forward with an offer. And we'll start the details for the job offer. Make her hire date, March 25th. We're hiring this employee as a new hire. We're going to continue with the base pay that we've selected previously. If we needed to make any edits, remember, just click on the pencil for our edits. And for this one, we're not going to do a one time payment for her, but if we were, we could do like a sign on bonus or such. It would be there. And then we will review all the information here, make sure everything looks good. And if it does, then we can hit submit. We see an error here, and it's showing it's no reason for a one time payment. Remember, we're not doing a one time payment for. We're going to call it the one time payment, but we're going to leave it at 0 because we're not submitting one for her. And now we can do submit. So now that the offer agreement information has been approved by the budget office, it's back to extend an offer to Khadijah. We're going to say that the verbal offer has been extended and accepted, and now we're going to extend a written offer. Now in my inbox is the staff offer letter for Khadijah James. It gives me an opportunity to review the letter. And the information in green has been pulled over from the previous information that we requested and submitted. And now we will submit. And now it's time for Khadijah to review her offer. We're back in as applicant Khadijah for her to review her offer letter. So here's a letter for her to see. And then here is where she would sign. Agree, continue. And finish. Okay. And now the offer letter has been signed, and we can review that as the recruiter. Okay, and now as we're in as the recruiter, we see Khadijah James as a candidate. And for the actions, we're going to move her as a candidate. I'm going to move her forward to background check. And we're going to do a standard background check for her and submit. And now we're going to review that background check, and we're going to say that she has passed her background. And we're going to move her forward to ready for hire. So Khadijah has passed her background check, she has signed her offer letter, and so now she is complete at ready for hire. So we see her completion here. And then when we look at our cone that shows us the steps, we see that she's at that ready for hire stage. So we are all done with our hire for Khadijah, and then later she'll begin her onboarding.